Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the Vault. Trust Christian owned, not to control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. I always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the Vault, and today we are talking about which state is the best state for trust. What state is the best state? Which state is the best to set up a trust? And so we know that we have a lot of new incoming trustees, and there's just a lot of misnomers and questions that are out there that people want to ask and they haven't had a chance to ask. If you'd like to get a consultation, you can feel free to reach out Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, Christian at trustchristian.com. We actually have a limited number of seats that we actually work with trustees every single quarter. Right now, we do have our enrollment full for the first 3 quarters here, and looking to set up the next quarter. So if you want to start trustee training in in March or April, pretty much feel free to reach out Christian at trustchristian.com and get going in trustee training, enrolling, and get going now. So in this particular case, this is an episode where a lot of people ask the questions, what state is the best state to set up a trust? And so this is where a lot of trustees fall into the, oh man, I didn't know Trust Christian, I had a public trust. My lawyer didn't tell me I had a public trust. They didn't tell me I couldn't operate internationally. I thought that I could just operate internationally because I got a trust, and that's that. Well, not all trusts are created equal. So what's the best state? How does the state make a difference? Well, oh man, we're gonna jump hot straight into it. We get people come to us, oh man, Trust Christian, I'm gonna start opening up trust in Wyoming. What difference does it make if you open up a trust in Wyoming, quote unquote, if you're the citizen that's doing it? Y'all wanna talk that talk? Let's talk that talk. Are you a citizen? Because if you're a citizen setting up a trust, domestically, it's a living trust. If you're a citizen setting up a trust, domestically, it's living. It's public. The lawyer and the accountant did. The lawyer didn't tell you that. Whoever set it up, they didn't tell me that. So what does that mean? That means you got a public one. How you gonna operate internationally, privately? So our trustees operate internationally and privately. The trustees we work with. If you wanna once again reach out, get a consultation so you can make sure, see how the situation will best suit you. But at the end of the day, when somebody says, oh yeah, which state to set up a trust, we're just gonna jump straight into it. So if 59 of the states, or 49 of the states are once again pretty much common law states, and then Louisiana is Napoleonic, okay, common law jurisdiction. It's not about a state, it's about a jurisdiction. See the difference? See, that's what the lawyer and the accountants don't want to talk to you on that level, because you might not be able to have a conversation with them about it. But if you can have a conversation with them, you could ask them, what jurisdiction is the trust going to be able to allow me to operate in? Can I operate in domestic, or can I operate internationally, and specifically in common law jurisdictions? Because most of the world was ruled by common law, and still is to a degree. Most of the jurisdictions are common law. Of course, you have like your communistic regimes, you have your stricter civil law regimes, you have your Sharia law regimes, and so these are different styles of law. But you want to, oh, Trust Christian, man, I'm about to buy me some property in Tulum. I'll buy property in Costa Rica. I'll buy property in Colombia. Do you know the jurisdiction that the entity's buying it in? Do you know the Hague Convention laws that say what trust can operate internationally? But I got a trust, they told me I got a trust, so I should be able to just buy some. Look, I travel overseas all the time, so I'm gonna go ahead and buy some property internationally. And at one point here, or already got some property internationally, and it's not in my trust yet, because I don't know how to do that, because the lawyer who set me up into one. It's like, really? Which state is the best state? There is no best state. Oh man, how would I listen to this long? How would I listen to this for this? Well, if you want to operate internationally and you operate in a broad array of jurisdictions, traditionally it's going to be in a common law jurisdiction. It's not going to be in just, oh, well, I got to shut up in California. The first of all, the laws for California and New York are different. So is it a state trust, or is it a quality trust? Oh man, once again, A lot of y'all got state-based trusts, so it's got the laws, like the bankruptcy laws written for California in there. Like, what? How good is that gonna be for you? So you're utilizing the state bankruptcy laws. Do you know how the contract's written? Is it a state-based contract? We have trustees reach out to us all the time to have contracts. Is it a state-based contract? Oh man, but the lawyer and the accountant they didn't set me up with the international one. How am I supposed to know that? I mean, I done paid them three, four, $5,000, man, $10,000. I gotta now go back and get a entity that's not gonna be just based off of the state. It's not limited to the state. Correct. That's where trustee training comes in. Christian at trustchristian.com is the email you can reach out to. Because a lot of people reaching out saying, hey, well, I got my trust was set up in, Louisiana. Really? Out of all the places, we've had trustees come to us. I got assets in Louisiana. I got property in Louisiana. There's nothing wrong with that, actually. There are many entities that hold property in Louisiana. Here we go. We'll give you an example of what Louisiana means in trust law. So a lot of people, they'll say, oh, man, I'm going to go set up a corporation in Delaware because that's supposed to be the best state to set up a corporation. That's what people say back in the day. If you're going to go, oh, I'm going to go go public. We're gonna put a company on the stock market. So we're gonna create a Delaware corporation. Okay, that's what Louisiana looks like. Now, how many of y'all know that there are other states that have reared their head, Wyoming, Nevada, that put up comparable business-friendly practices in these states? So it's not just, oh, you go to Delaware to set up a company. You can set up companies many places. Okay, so why would you have an asset inside of Delaware? People have houses in Delaware. There are assets in Delaware. Think about it. People put their corporation address in Delaware. So clearly there's some value to this particular state. Bottom line. So is it, oh man, there's no value in Louisiana? Louisiana has ports. They have athletic teams. This is a place where assets are being held, and there's a strategic reason to hold those assets in those particular places. It is a Napoleonic jurisdiction, so it's not favorable for common law, but that doesn't mean that common law entities don't operate in that jurisdiction. They do. They do. So as we continue with the conversation, if somebody says, oh, what's the best state? Ladies and gentlemen, whether y'all want to know it or not, if the trust is a state trust, it's a public trust. It's not a private trust. So let's just go ahead and keep it clear. Let's keep it a start. Let's keep it clean. Let's not let the lawyers confuse you. Let's not let people confuse you. If you set up the trust, it's a public trust. If you set it up in a state, it's a public one. How can I do it without the state? That's the difference. Private is without the state. Private is without the government. Are y'all aware of that? Hold on, my lawyer didn't tell me that. Well, the lawyer, they work for the bar association. They got a bar card. The lawyers, they did a number on me, man. They set me up in a state-created trust. So how was I supposed to know that I could have a private trust? How is it not private if the lawyer set it up for me in the state? Well, first of all, does the state govern the contract? The lawyer talk to y'all about that? Does the state govern the contract? Does the state have jurisdiction over the trust? See, private trusts, they have their own jurisdiction. That's why they're not talked about. When you have your own, when you have, because it's a contract. When you have a state-created contract, it's based off what the state says is good and bad or legal or not legal in the contract. Hear the difference? So, okay, the lawyer set me up in the state trust. They put me in the trust that was based off the state because they're a state board attorney. Exactly. And you're not supposed to be utilizing attorneys to actually create trust. Oh, did you say it like that? Don't they make statements like that? Who are you going to trust? Anybody but an attorney. Right. So clearly, did the lawyer set you up in a private trust without the state? Did you even ask? Or are they even going to do it if you ask? No. Why would they do that? There's no jurisdiction that they could really adhere to unless you actually have them inside of the contract or unless they're actually in the contract administering the contract. How are they going to have jurisdiction over the contract just like the judge will have jurisdiction over the contract if it's a state created trust? But in the private sector, you take the contract in, there's a dispute, you go into a public court, you go into a private court or administration, they're going to say, what's in the contract? That's private. So what's the best state? Y'all don't even want to know. It's in the state of mind. When the creators created, is it public or private? Is it in the state or outside the state? Is it with the government or without the government? Oh man, Trust Christian, how could you say that to people? You're just gonna tell them that they could have a trust contract and it doesn't have the state laws inside of it? That's a private contract. That's what it looks like. Because the lawyer didn't tell you that. Now you got a public contract. It's that simple. And if you really truly want to protect your assets, like they say, oh man, my lawyer. We had a guy. This is supposed to be a friend, right? Y'all don't want to hear this. So the friend, whether y'all want to know it or not, since we not dropping names, we're gonna give the story. This friend is gonna file for divorce at one point. Yep, they're gonna file for divorce, and the wife doesn't know it. Yep, but the other day, we find out from the friend that the wife, they set up a trust in the past month, 2, 3, 4 months, together. You think because the wife isn't smart? Think the wife isn't hearing through the grapevine? You think because she hasn't heard her friends go through situations, she's not gonna find out? Of course. So she wants to start putting assets in a trust. But is it a public trust or a private trust? And he knows, because he knows Trust Christian. He knows she's setting things up in a public trust. So when she tries to come after him for the private trust, guess what? She don't have access. Why? Because he trusts Christian. Own nothing, control everything. He knows he cannot own those assets, even while they're married. But somehow, we thought he was going crazy when he told us that. Oh yeah, my wife said we had to create a trust. Yeah, but she created a public trust for the family. You hear the difference? She made sure that the trust, when they put assets in it, she gonna be able to rip them to shreds. It's a family trust, right? Yeah. Well, they in it together, right? Yeah. And is the state involved in the contract? Yeah. Then it's a family state contract trust. It looks that simple. Well, we know we're not a rat or a snitch for the buddies, but at the end of the day, you all can hear the nature of relationships and how powerful contracts are. When someone in other parties is like, well, we'll go get in the contract, but they don't understand the power of the contract, and the power is based off of the powers where they come from, where they governed, where is it governed, who's governing it, who's the judge of the contract, the state. That's the difference between public and private. We look forward to hearing from you, Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. Peace and joy.